Log in to KofiPiesieTV.com and get Spears of the Mossi Volume 1 by Kofi Piesie Research Team, from Spears the Pen Volume 2 by Kofi Piesie Research Team, Spiritual Combat Volume 3 by Kofi Piesie Research Team, One Night Before Bed by Herit, Shawn, Khalfani, Kalawa's Trip to the Motherland by Kofi Piesie, From Cocaine to Consciousness by Herit, Shawn, Khalfani, As I Learn, We All Learn by Kofi Piesie. Also, if you want fresh merch, go to our online store, Family Connect Apparel, and get all the brands. Also, get our 54 deck of quiz and educational cards available now on KofiPiesieTV.com.
All right. Peace, and Black African Power. Welcome back to Kofi Piesie TV. First, I want to say ETM Hotep, Dual Aku, Dual Nature, Fatmu Alafie, Fatmu Riri, Fatmu Iwa Pele, Majuba Iba Ie Gungun, Majuba Iba Ie Gungun, Majuba Iba Ie Lakba, Majuba Iba Ie Lakba. I always want to give honor and praises to the ancestors, because without the ancestors, we wouldn't be here. We are our ancestors. I also want to extend honor and praises to the true and living elders, according to an African worldview and from an African world perspective. Again, y'all, please like and share the show. We're back with another edition of Author's Perspective. We hadn't did Author's Perspective in a while. I'm glad to be bringing Author's Perspective back with Brother Garfield. Before we get started, we always dedicate each show, whether it's the Warrior Scholar Show or whether it's Author's Perspective, to a author, whether they are amongst the living or amongst the dead. Give me 1 second. All right, so today's show, we're going to dedicate it to Hubert Harris. I'm going to just read something real quick about Hubert Harris, and then we'll get started with the interview. Hubert Henry Harris, born April 27, 1883, died December 7, 1927, was a West Indies American writer, orator, educator, critic, race and class conscious political activist, and radical international, based in Harlem, New York. Read one more little thing. All right. In the first decade in New York, Harrison started writing letters to the editor to the New York Times, and the topics such as lynching, Charles Darwin theories of evolution, and analytical criticism. He also began lecturing such subjects as poetry of Paul Laurence Dunbar and Reconstruction. As part of the civic effort, Harris worked with St. Benedict Lincoln, along with biblical file Arthur Schomburg's from Puerto Rico, journalist John E. Bruce, and the activist Samuel Duncan. So I want to say Majuba Ibe to Hubert Harris, or Hubert Henry Harris. All right. Let's get into the interview. Welcome, Brother Garfield. Welcome, Brother Garfield, to the Author's Perspective. Real quick, hold on. Let me do this. Let me get to the questions. Now, with Author's Perspective, I don't know if you're familiar with Author's Perspective, Brother Garfield, but on Author's Perspective, we have interviewed a lot of authors, and with this show, we want to highlight the author and highlight the author work, but also educate the people, because the main focus of Author's Perspective is we want to encourage and influence more people that look like us to produce books. I believe that if we have more people that can that look like us and able to write and tell our story from our own perspective, I think we'll be in a better position. So again, welcome to Author's Perspective. Can you briefly introduce yourself for people that may not know who Garfield Reid is?
Hey, peace and love, man. And first of all, thank you. And you come with the energy of the ancestors. So much love and respect to your brother Kofi Piesie in the building. All right. So ladies and gentlemen, people know me as Brother Garfield. I am the CEO of the Dagger Squad. We've been around for a while. And basically, we're a research team. And we have evolved. We have evolved to the point where we have our own YouTube, we have our own audience, we have our own people that follow us, and we have our research team. But we also have the ability to put forward information in the forms of book, which I've been working on for the past 4 years, right? This book right here, Misconceptions and Misinformation by the Black Hebrew Israelites. But before we get into that, I'm pretty much somebody who was in like the first period of the conscious community, meaning as a teenager, I was involved with the Nation of Islam. I was in processing. I used to work with the Nation of Islam in the projects, doing security and different odd jobs. As a matter of fact, I don't know which award show, the Source Award show, where Snoop Dogg was on stage saying that the East Coast don't love him. I was actually at the stage doing security with the Nation of Islam at that point. So I did Spike Lee movies and all that stuff. So, I mean, in the 90s as a teenager, I was very involved with the conscious community as far as the slave theater and Dr. Ben and all those people. I also was a part of a group called the Black African Holocaust Council. We had our lecture series every week. So I got to see all the greats who passed. I've seen them in person. Dr. Ishaka Musa Barashango is a personal teacher of mine. So with the Bible and carrying on and all that stuff, I'm just carrying on the legacy of the elders, man. Professor James Smalls, one of my master teachers, and that's all I'm doing. So Garfield is here, and whatever we want to talk about, I'm here, man. Let's go.
Man, you know what? I was trying to think of a person, like majority of the people that I interview, whether it's on author's perspective or warrior scholars, I always try to find somebody that they kind of similar to. And Barashango, wow, I that's who I should have dedicated the show to, because you are kind of similar. Because I have some of his books. I didn't know that he was actually your teacher. I didn't know that. I just learned something right there. Okay. So like I said, like, I'm gonna be the questions that I'll be asking, I'm gonna be phrasing them in a way so that people that, like I said, that may not know you can get to know who Garfield Reid is, who this author Garfield Reid is, as well as learning lessons for people, because the main objective is we want more people to publish more books that look like us and tell it from our way and from our perspective and from our worldview. So, you know, the first two questions is always the first two questions are the same two questions I ask everybody that come on. So, what got you into writing, and how long have you been writing?
Oh man, I mean, writing is not really my forte, to be honest. I'm more of a researcher. Writing is new to me. I'm gonna be honest. Writing music is something I used to do. You know, I used to write music back in the days and all that stuff, you know, and I used to record music. Writing music about my life and what I did with the ladies and all that crazy stuff is what I do. So writing and actually putting this information in a book is a task I never thought I could accomplish. I tried it out when I just started writing the book. My daughter was writing the book for me, pretty much. You know, I would tell her what I want. She would put it on a piece of paper and said, how does this sound, that sound? That didn't work out too well. So I ended up having to doing the whole book, entire book by myself.
Well, okay, with that, we want to talk about that. We're going to get into that because I want to talk about the process. I want to, because everybody, we're going to get to that segment where I like to talk about the process. See, the process will give people a better understanding on how they goes. The way you wrote your book may be different than the way I wrote my book. Everybody has their own process. So we want to walk people through the process, you know what I'm saying? So they can, you know, they can gradually learn, okay, I can do this, I can do that. In the third, so say that process, you know what I'm saying? For
all right. So pretty much what as what got me into writing was I felt like, you know, with Barashango, the master teacher Barashango, we had somebody who told us the connection with the holy days, the holidays, Easter, and show you the paganism. But nobody ever, and if somebody could show me, let me know. Nobody has really broken down the books, where the stories come from, why people believe what they believe, how the stories got to be written. I'm not trying to brag or nothing. I thought we missing that as a community. So who better than to be the leader of the Dagger Squad than to bring the information in a book? So that's what led me to actually put a book together.
Okay. Let's see, man, where I want to go. I'm gonna kind of skip around too, but all right, just this is a question for me. You know what I'm saying? This is a question for me. I'm interested in. Name a few Garfield favorite authors. Well, who are some of your favorite authors? And if you're currently reading anything, give us the name of something that you may be currently reading.
I'm currently reading my book again. As far as reading stuff, anything to do with the Bible, that's just me. I mean, I've read you guys' book. Well, I'm not reading that now. I've read it before, but this is an interesting book right here that's beside me that I always wanted to finish it. It's a book called The Letters of the Medieval Jewish Traders. So it basically shows from the Geniza manuscripts everywhere where the Jews were. So like if I wanted to know, as a matter of fact, in volume 2, the whole chapter of Jews of West Africa, I didn't put it in this book. I used this book because this actually has the primary sources of letters to where Jews were in Africa. So letters from people who were there and letters being written to them, to the communities in Africa. So if people want to know about merchants, banking, and paying people off, this is a pretty good book to know where they went and what they did. So the book is called Letters of Medieval Jewish Traders. And this book also taught me that the Jews never liked to work with other people who weren't Jews. This book taught me that.
Where can we find that at? That's something I might want to get my hands on.
You can find it anywhere, Amazon or wherever. It's a pretty good book. It's on. I mean, you could go on Google and just see like a preview of it, so you know what you're getting into. But actually, because you guys deal with West Africa, because what I did was I went on Google and Googled Africa, and it told me where to look in the book because I haven't read the entire book. So that gave me where they talked about Africa, the pages. So that's when I just started doing that. Another book that, well, I read this all the time just to get my head right. So when it's time to sit down and debate people, The Failure of Biblical Prophecy by Chris Sandoval. This book here is this book, and it's sad because this chapter didn't make the book because it was just too big. But let me tell you something. When they say you make a remix, the remix is not as good as the original. Well, my remix of the first book is better than the original. I know that by far. This right here, daggers all day. The Failure of Biblical Prophecy, a skeptic's review of the evidence, Chris Sandoval. He's a beast. So when I say that prophecies never came true, this is the guy who actually at work I use all the time and beat up the people. All right. Well, actually, I am not home. But these are books. I'm actually at a Airbnb because I can't do no interview with my son around. It's crazy. So I've had this Airbnb for like a week. I'm gonna have it for like another 2 weeks or so. So this is just to help me promote because I'm doing so many promotional videos. I can't have my son around, so I decided to get an Airbnb near the river. So I'm near the waters. The waters is right outside. So that's where I'm at doing an interview with you. So I'm not home. I don't have none of my stuff. All I have here is just clothes. But pretty much that's what I have. Yeah.
Okay.
But that's pretty much what I'm reading now, because just to keep myself sharp, with the West Africa. I'm not an expert on West Africa at all. So the Jews of West Africa, I have to learn from the Mossi warrior clan. Like Shawn would tell me stuff, give me information, and I watch you guys talk about the traditions of the Africans, whether it's different cultures within the interior Africa and so forth. So I watch you guys for information regarding Africa. And of course, you know, my brother Rawbon always throw me some bones, you know, different books. But you guys are the main source of my West African traditions. So
Okay.
I look at you guys and the sources, and you know, that's what it is.
Okay, yeah, that's definitely, man, some books I'm gonna check, especially that first one. I'm gonna probably buy that one as soon as we get off the interview, man. And we're gonna talk about, you know, like you saying you and I didn't know, I definitely, man, I greatly appreciate it. I didn't know you was I thought you was at home, you know, you somewhere else, man. So I appreciate, man, for you coming on. We gonna get into the marketing too, because you know, you saying you rented an Airbnb and you're gonna go on this run, you know, with your book, you know, go on these different platforms and etc. So we're gonna talk about that too. We're gonna talk about marketing because, again, like I said, we trying to educate people and encourage people to, you know, they can do it. If I can do it and you can do it, they can do it too, you know. So we definitely gonna talk about the marketing in a minute. But the process, man. Let's talk about the process. Let's talk about Garfield process and the process, you know, the step by step in order for you to write the book. Like I'm saying, everybody's process is different. Like I'm saying, with my process, like I don't go nowhere without it. I go everywhere with a tablet. So, and I'm always thinking. I'm always thinking. I think that's one reason why I don't go to sleep at night. I'm up all night because I'm always thinking about creating something. So and even when I'm out from my house, I have a tablet. So a lot of times I take notes, and a lot of stuff be from notes. A lot of stuff be from previous presentations I've done. A lot of it be from people that I encounter with, people, videos that I may watch, and etc. And but just walk us through your process. Can you walk us through the step by step, meaning how long do you use notes? Do you take notes? Do you write notes down?
Yes. If you steal my computer, you have my entire book from it in my notes. My notes are the main source. Like, for example, there's a brother by the name of Jeremiah Judah. I told him I need him to help me with my book because I need to know the claims they make. He thinks I need help writing. I don't. I just want to hear the crazy claims so I could put them in the book so that people could see what it is. You know what? Can I share something real quickly with you guys?
Yeah.
Share something with you guys real quick. All right, let me pull up. This is actually on my computer, so I don't have to do that much. All right, so ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to show, there's an African author. All right, I'm going to show you something. Actually, unfortunately, I'm showing this, but this is actually not in the book. I shouldn't be showing this, but this is part of the claims of the Black Hebrew Israelites. And what happened is, family, we have this flyer, right? So we have this flyer here. You could add it to the screen. So this flyer here, ladies and gentlemen, is an original. In fact, Shawn from Mossi in Herit was the one that actually gave me the primary for this, because this is in the Library of Congress. I didn't know that. But what happened now, let me stop sharing. Let me show something else. The Hebrew Israelites are now floating this flyer around. This is the flyer because they want to connect the Igbos with the slaves that came over, saying that they're Hebrews instead of Hebrews. They're trying to say they're Hebrews. So what someone did within their community is Photoshop the original that's at the Library of Congress and change it to Fine Hebrews. Because if you read the top right here, you'll see that it's the same thing. They literally Photoshopped it. This is how crazy these people are. But look at this. The craziness didn't even stop here. It actually went to the continent. Because look here. This guy has this information in his book. And this is supposedly a respected African scholar. This guy, Evo's Amazing Facts and Revelations. And then when you look at what is in his book, look what he got. He's worse than the Hebrews. Look what he got. He got this right here in his book. He said an American slave poster showing Hebrew, which is Hebrew slaves being sold. The same Photoshop flyer has reached to the continent where we got people on the continent doing it. This is nuts. So we do need to make a book called The Misconception and Misinformation. So we have to start from point A. Point A is, what is the Bible? Who, what, where, why, and how? Why is the Bible written? Who wrote it? Why did they write it? How did it get where to be? And how did it get transmitted to us? So the baby steps is I'm really dealing a lot with the BC era. But in the volume 2, I show a group of Jews from the 2200 years ago who transferred a history and transmitted it for over 2200 years, bro. I got primary sources. So whenever you see a Jew, I mean, you familiar with the Catalan Atlas and the Majorcan Jews? They showed exactly where the Jews were in Africa because that was their people. So whether they look like me and you, Kofi, we like with the chocolate color we got, or they look light skinned like Shawn, or they look like Tazariak, yellow like Tazariak, or even my brother in the chat, Jeremiah Africa, light skinned like him. If they look like them, it don't matter. A Jew is a Jew, but they all trace back to Orthodox Judaism, which is something you guys probably don't mess with because every person who is a Jew is attached to rabbinical Judaism, some way, somehow. They are attached to Orthodox Judaism, rabbinical Judaism, oral Torah. And if they're attached to oral Torah, that means they're attached to the group from 2200 years. You're talking about the Gulat period, the Tanaic period, the Amoraim period. Even from now, the people that are around now, they had all these people who they say is the Messiah, and we laugh at them. But that's the same tradition for over 2200 years ago. 2200, bro. And these same people, whether they look like me and you, same people, has been carrying this tradition over and over. And the bottom line is they originally are converts because there's really nobody carrying a Torah around or a Bible around with 39 books. 39 books.
Man. So how long did it take you to actually put the book together, Garfield? And you mentioned earlier that you started out your first process was your daughter. Your first process was your daughter. You said that wasn't working out too well, and then I guess you switched up. So what after your daughter started helping you type it up? Then what was your next step? What was your next process or your next phase?
My daughter was the perfect person to write my book because she's literally a writer. She's in school for writing. So at the end of the day, she was the perfect person, and she had a curiosity. And while I was writing the book, and she's like, wow, I didn't know this about you. Because at the introduction of the book, I give a history of myself. So at the end of the day, there's a lot of things people don't know about me: going to Calvary Prep, being baptized at 9, and studying the Bible, going to school, being a Christian, changed Nation of Islam, Rastafarianism, Kemet, Africa. A lot of people don't know this about me. So the book lays all of this out at the beginning to introduce me to the world. So now that's written and everything. We start with Bereshit, and I'm like this. If something hit me, I'm putting the idea in the notes, put a link to remind me. I'm like that. So for years, and shout out to Raw Bond from Each One Teach One. He's the one that put me on to notes because I didn't use to. He's like, yo, you need to have a notes. So I have notes in Google that I don't even use. I have posts that I save on Facebook for like 7 years now. So even the brother that's a part of your stuff now, brother, we used to call him Panahisi back in the days, or Kungfu. That's my big bro, man. He used to be a Hebrew Israelite deep in the game. Right. And I mean, we used to battle. I mean, that dude used to hate Garfield, man. He'd tell you, he used to hate Garfield back in the days, man. He wanted to hear Garfield head off. But he grew. He grew. He got involved with his roots. And I was just so impressed. I used to save his posts. And it's like, yo, I got to use that in my book. I got to use that in my book. So all these posts that I have, and then I have the information that I have that I study on my own, and different things that we work on, with Rawbone and with Truth Story back in the days. All these things I save. I don't throw anything out. So I have my notes, and my notes, I got over 612 in my iCloud right now. I'm looking at it right now. 612 different notes. So that means if I'm building on Sennacherib and the Nubians, and they saying, oh, them people that the bones that they found was Israelites, I could just click in here and go to the source where it talks about those people have pre-dynastic bones, skulls. So they are attached to the Egyptians, and the Egyptians are Hamites. So that couldn't be them. That was us. That was us sub-Saharan Africans fighting for them and taking over the area and trying to protect their ass from the Assyrians. All right. But yeah, as far as the motion of the book, I use a lot of notes. I write down everything I make a note for. It could be the smallest thing, Kofi. If you say to me, Garfield, I found something in the Congo. What? Boom, 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 boom. Garfield typing up already. I got my phone. Boom, boom, boom. Let's go. Notes. So it's on my Mac computer, and that's attached to my iPhone.
Right.
So it's all in sync. It's all in sync. So now when I go home, I got my little MacBook that's attached to my notes too. So I'm all in sync, bro. So if I have my big computer here, little computer at the house. So if I go by the house, go check on a mirror, boom, 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 I got it, boom, boom, boom. Notes. I need to talk to somebody about something. There we go. So the notes is very important because it keeps your ideas in your head. So and then you gotta have a topic for the note that you're gonna remember. So if I said, okay, where do we go from here? The Israelites. And I have the whole thing about what I wrote about them over the years, and I add on to it, subtract, and all that stuff.
Okay, so y'all hear that right there. So notes is very important. That's notes is very important. That is one step to the process. So for those that are wanting to know how to put a book together, the main focus is writing notes. And your process, Garfield, is like mine. Like I have 3 computers. I have my HP computer. I'm on my Mac computer. I have my iPhone, and then I have my Apple iPad. And I type notes. I even write notes also. But I'm trying to get more from writing on paper so I can have more of it synced into the iClouds, like you're saying. But I got stuff everywhere. So and that's like one of the main things I think is very important, what I'm saying, is them notes. You got ideals, writing those down, and going into what I'm saying further with the process. You talked about you're the founding member of the Dagger Squad, and man, I it seems like it's a lot of y'all. I don't know a lot of the individuals in the Dagger Squad, but it's a lot of them. So in the process of you writing those books, you said you write notes, you take notes down, and then you converse with other people. That I guess that you deemed or that has a type of methodology. Mm-hmm. So with that, you writing your book, you seeked out help from your own squad and from other people that you deemed that may be, pretty good, pretty decent, pretty accurate with methodology.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. And you have to try arguments with them. So I would put something in the back and feel them out, see how this response is. Like, one of the biggest things with this book is I'm using the Bible to prove the Exodus didn't happen, that there's a tradition in the Bible. So in chapter 2, I have a chapter called No Exodus, No Religion. And what I did was I used the book of Chronicles. And the book of Chronicles is like an anti-Exodus book. It's written about the 4th century BC. And people might say, why would you take a tradition from the 4th century? What happened is, if you're coming from a theological perspective, I'm going to talk about this for 30 seconds, and I'm going to get back to your question. Right. If you have a theological writing that they say is inspired by God, why would God allow you to be inspired to write a tradition that contradicts his tradition? So now that's what I pointed out in the book. is that these guys are running around teaching the Bible, and it seems like they have never read the Bible. Because Ephraim, Manasseh, Benjamin, Judah, Gad, Asher, Zebulun, Issachar, all 12 tribes in Chronicles are not partaking in the Exodus. Their tradition talks about an eponymous ancestor, like he's a real guy, and he lives and have children and goes up until the time of David. There's no Exodus involved. That's the tradition of the Chronicles. I'm like, whoa, that contradicts in the book of Exodus. It talks about them going in there. But in the studies now, I find out that the tribes in the Exodus tradition is only 6 tribes. The other 6 tribes are not even connected to Jacob, even in the stories within Genesis and whatever. They're not in any storyline, you know. And then in the Bible, you find some tribes when they're born, they praise Elohim. Some tribes when they're born, they praise Yahweh. So it's like 2 different writers and confusion. So those are the things that I bring out in the book that we don't talk about. I'm not telling nobody to drop their religion. I'm just telling you, you need to step your game up and start teaching the people right, and realize that your religion is no better than anybody's religion. And religion, actually, your belief is personal. I don't need to know what anybody believes. And we shouldn't go around trying to build cults based off of information we don't even understand. So I remember doing an interview with Tazariak, and I said, bro, I'm going to take away Judah from you. Watch when my book comes out. I'm going to prove that the lost tribes is really Judah, and I'm going to prove that Judah didn't even partake in the Exodus. He's like, damn, I ain't read the Bible in years. But you teach the Bible every day. What are you talking about? But I'm going to prove it with their Bible. I don't even need archaeology to prove that Exodus didn't happen. I'm going to use their own Bible and prove it. That's the craziness. But in building the book, I put arguments to my back chat. Brother Black Lion, Brother 93, Brother Kayal. They're like, oh man, that's deep. I need a source on that. I dig. I'm like, all right, cool. Y'all good. I just got to test it out. Test out the little waters a little bit. I'll go live. I'll test out an argument, see how people respond to it. And then, you know, we go from there. But as far as the book, it's a tough situation because I'm a father and my son is always around. So it's hard. It's hard to do a live stream every day. It's hard to have the stuff being done and all that stuff. So what I was blessed with is that whenever I would write a note, I would have the information already there. And I'm a good paraphraser. So when people don't understand what paraphrasing is what everybody does when they write a book. All the scholars use experts in the field. Mm-hmm. Kofi is well read in a subject, but he's not an expert to the point where, you know, although now he's written books and so forth, people can start referring to Kofi. But I'm talking like 5-6 years ago, when you're reading and getting into the knowledge that you have, and we all do, we read the experts and we learn from the experts. Now, Garfield is coming up with stuff that I have scholars who are experts saying, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. I got emails from scholars saying, wow, you said that. I never thought of that. Like with Passover. Passover, people don't understand that Passover was being practiced before there was even an incident in Egypt, but it wasn't a tradition. It was an agricultural tradition. So what happened is, after they have something called the Seder. When you think of the Passover, you think of them cutting up the meat and sitting around and talking about the Exodus. That's what's called the Seder. Mm-hmm. The Seder is not in the Bible. That's man-made. And that they got that from the Greeks. They got that from the symposia because they had to sit down and eat their food and tell stories and drink wines and lettuce. They got that from the Greeks. But you as a guy 2,500 years later, you doing Passover, you don't know that. Because you come from rabbinical Judaism, which don't care. They just do it because you're talking about the Exodus. So now you're following a tradition that's not even a part of your Bible, and you're doing it every year like you're actually following the people that you say you hate, the Edomites. So at the end of the day, you know, this is just some of the things that I bring out in the book to show where Passover come from. And the scholars read my book. They had their criticisms. I corrected them. I made sure every chapter was read by a scholar. That's what I made sure.
So you saying peer review now? So you had your book peer reviewed by
different peers, yeah, different scholars, I should say, different scholars.
Mm-hmm. Right. And that's kind of like the best thing to do, especially if you got people, you know, your comrades or your constituents you know what I'm saying, that's in the same lane that you is. You want to run, you know, things by them. You want to put stuff out there, like you said. You say you put things like us. We talk every day. Like we talk every day in the back chat, you know, and we talk about certain subjects. And I just stay in my lane for the most part. And that's one thing I can say I appreciate about you, or I noticed about you, is you stay in your own lane. Like I'm in my own lane. If it's dealing with African culture, traditions, their values, we can talk about West African I can talk about West African all day. I can talk about Central Africa all day, North, you know, and East Africa all day. Those are my lane. I don't go outside of that. But we talk all, like I'm saying, we talk all the time, and we throw things out there, and we may disagree on certain things. So, you know, and when we writing stuff, you know, we run things past each other, you know, and Shawn is one, you know, Shawn is like one, like Shawn is big in methodology. That's his thing, methodology. So he gonna let you know, even like with my book I just put out, like, he ain't gonna cut me no slack neither, even though with certain things he already know that I wrote and put in there, but he's not gonna cut me no slack. So it's good to get your stuff peer reviewed by your peers, by your constituents, man. So you definitely
and as I see my brother Asar Motep in the audience, one thing I did lack though is the support from the people who do it. You know what I'm saying? Asar does it, Wujah would do it, Sanjeti does it, you guys do it, Ankh does it. So I think as my first book, I should have leaned more on you guys instead of me trying to go at it independent route without getting input from my brothers who I deal with every day. And I think that was a selfish way of me putting the book out, you know, instead of saying, let me have these guys. I mean, I think I sent a couple of chapters to Ankh or whatever, but I should have been more open in dialoguing with the guys, not only with the process, but as far as different things that we talked about earlier on the phone, you know, as far as you know, putting the product out, understanding the book, and you know, we should have had a conference call. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, Garfield has a book, and this is how it should be done. This is how I do it. Instead of me saying, you know what, I'm gonna try this, I'm gonna try that. It's not a trial and error game. It's just to get it right the first time and get it done properly. And I think that's one of the errors I made in putting this book together, not leaning on my brothers who I can reach out to. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, I like, you know, we talked on the phone. I mean, I definitely can, you know, I definitely can feel that. I mean, sir, you know, I seen you. I guess you kind of like me. I don't like bothering people at times. You know, I do when the only way I'll bother you if you tell me that, hey, man, if you need anything, man, you need some help or need to be pushed in a certain direction, I got you. Then, okay, I say, let me take him up on his advice, because I believe when an opportunity presents itself, you should seize that opportunity. But if don't nobody say nothing, I just don't reach out to nobody and try to bother nobody. But sometimes with you being selfish and you doing things like what you're doing, you know, it is kind of like trial and error. You learn what to do and what not to do. And like, you know, we talked on the phone and we'll move on. But a lot of things we did on our own, and it was some stuff that we didn't get right. And then later on we came down and we got it right. But it was a blessing because we learned the ins and out, because we had to do it ourselves. Like I said, we had to get it out of the mud, you know what I'm saying? And then certain things that we had to lean on somebody, you know, we reached out to a person or two, you know, that we knew that probably would return the phone call. But, you know, yeah, we just got to start working together, you know, Brother Garfield. I mean, that's the only way we're going to be able to get ahead is if we start working together, man. And like I said,
because one of the main things with this is I'm trying to do a set of marketing that I think that can accomplish things. I mean, not everybody on this side deals with like a sonnetter or whatever, but I have sonnetter that I could promote with, but I also have different outlets. You know, I have somebody from Love and Hip Hop. I have the sister that was a part of Trap Queen and all that stuff. I have different entertainers in the community and so forth. But one of the things I do have is a text blast of like almost between 15 and 20,000 people who have actually done dialogues with and so forth over the last 4 to 5 years. And I think what do you call it? I think that is an option that I'm actually going to try out and see if it works, because people read text more than emails. So you get a text blast, you're going to read it. But what it's doing is giving us a new option as far as, promoting for everybody. So I could say to the Kofi Piesie team, hey, it cost me X, Y, and Z to do this. This is what it costs. I'll let you all pay for it, and I'll just send it out, or I'll let Shawn log in and do it himself. And y'all promote that way, because promotion is good. I mean, I'm working with some people that have strong email blasts. I'm talking like 80,000 to 150 and so forth. But are those people going to buy my book? You know what I'm saying? And that's another thing. You could promote all you want, but what is who is the real market for the community to get knowledge? You know what I'm saying? Because it's not like back in the days when you had a Dr. Ben and it's more like a hand-to-hand thing, no Google, none of that stuff. They sold books without Google and without Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. So now we have that opportunity. What is the best route? Is it a route to go on one of the mainstream medias like a Power 105, pay that $4,000 a week or whatever, and advertise and get a free interview for 15 minutes? I mean, is that the best route? I mean, what is the best route? So I think this opportunity now is going to help everybody, because I'm going to go on different platforms that everybody can go on, and then I could use a certain amount of funds to do certain things. So I'm gonna. It's still going to be a trial based off of how it get received, because the Black Hebrew Israelite topic is a hot topic, and a lot of people claim it, don't know what it is. So from different angles, a lot of people. Fox News might give me a free interview if they feel I'm going in on the Black Hebrew Israelites. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, it has to be it has to be a process. But I just want to make sure that I have everything written down, what I'm doing. Like I have like around 50 platforms. I got a PR firm that's sending it out to the media, over 150 media outlets. Sister Naya did my what do you call it? What do you call that PR stuff? She did the whole press release for me. And so June 30th, I'm gonna be on track. I'm gonna be caught up. Everything's up. My website's up. My new website, because I had to make a whole new website because of for whatever reason. So a lot of those things are trial and errors. So we're gonna definitely see what happens. Definitely.
Yeah, and it like just listening to you earlier on the phone, you definitely on the right, you definitely on the right track. And then like I hope everybody listening to what you're saying, because you just gave them some game, especially when you're talking business. You're talking business, right? And a lot of things that you're talking about, it's gonna be a while. Probably gonna be right at the end of the year. I got another book, As I Learned, We All Learned, The Process of Business. And I'm gonna walk people through like some of the same stuff that you talking about. Like you just talked about your audience, who you are. It's like when you're starting a business, you have a lot of questions that you have to ask. And one of those questions is, what is going to be your main target audience? Who are you, you put whatever books, products, whatever you're putting out, who is going to be your main audience? You know what I'm saying? So you got to figure out who is going to be your main audience, and who, those audience, how are you going to target them? How are you going to engage in them? How am I going to get them to believe in what I got? How am I going to get them to even purchase the books or product that you got? So you just, with what you just said, you just dropped a whole lot. So I hope a lot of people is listening. Like I said, this show is to educate people. So you said a lot of things in what you said. Now, your book, Misconceptions and Misinformation About the Black Hebrew Israelites, is it an easy read? Or I'm asking because some people, and I'm saying that is because I always ask people that, because a lot of our, and I'm not, it's no slight to no one, but a lot of our people they can't comprehend what they can't comprehend what they read. You know what I'm saying? So I always ask the author, is it a complicated read? or is it an easy read?
Well, I would say it's an easy read. I'm not trying to complicate anybody, but I do. Let me show something on my screen real quickly. I want to hold on there 1 second. Let me refresh this. Yeah, this is what I use for my business. I've had the same 800 number for like 5 years since I've been in the community. And what this does, this is called go-to phone. So I just did a refresh of from 9/9/2016 to now, which is like almost 5 years. So the amount of numbers I have in here is like almost 15 to 20,000. So all these people are gonna get a text blast. No matter whoever call my 800 number, if they call this 800 number, they're gonna get a text blast. A lot of these people watch Sarnetta, they watch my channel, they watch Asar, they watch you guys, and for them to get a direct text is very important. Hey, just to let you guys know, my book is out. I'm live right now. Come check me out. I'm talking about it. So you have 15 to 20,000 people getting a text. Some will respond. Some will tune in now, that some will tune in later, but it's also a part of the marketing that I'm trying to figure out with this community, because we not used to this type of marketing. Somebody using $2,000 on Facebook to get, am I bringing in the right people to buy the book when I spend that $2,000 over a 5-week period? Paying $105.1, $4,000 a week for them to advertise it on the radio. Hey, new book. Garfield, brother Garfield has Black Hebrew, da 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 da. Is that gonna get me the buyership, the buyers to buy it? Because I'm gonna get a free interview after 4 weeks. Is the free interview for 15 minutes worth that $4,000 a week? So those things you have to weigh whenever you're doing marketing. So those things, you have to look at. You know what I'm saying? So what I want to stress to everybody is, what I'm doing, I'm going out on a limb to try something and see if it will work, so that we can do it on a whole when we combine. So when Kofi has a book out, that means I got a book out. When Asar got a book out, I got a book out, so that we work together as a team so that we could get this right. So if I'm able to sell over 5,000 books within like a 3 to 4 month period, then I know my marketing is a success. I could now go to Kofi and say, hey, this worked for me. Maybe you could try this. You know what I'm saying? Maybe you could do this. I don't know what your budget is, but this is what I did to sell 5,000 books within a 3-4 month period. Right. But anyway, let's get back to the question. You said something about is it an easy read? All right. I think it is. Actually, it's like 250 pages. It's very informative. It's like 80 books crammed into one book. And the sources, I source pretty much everything. And I did my best into trying to make it plain. An argument a lot of people like to use is they copied this from Kemet, they copied this from Mesopotamia. I don't do that. I broke down what comparative study was. So I use a very conservative scholar by the name of John Walton. He works in the universities. He teaches pastors and preachers and so forth. And I didn't want to use somebody that wasn't a believer. I wanted to use somebody that was a believer who actually had an angle that made sense. A very unbiased, But what I did was I broke down comparative studies and what people look for in the principles of comparative studies. So let me just say this. 10 important principles must be kept in mind when doing comparative studies. Both similarities and differences must be considered. Similarities may suggest a common cultural heritage or cognitive environment rather than borrowing. It is not uncommon to find similarities at the surface, but differences at the conceptual level and vice versa. So I give them a methodology while they're reading the book. So when people are trying to say, oh, they copied this or they copied that, that's irrelevant, because in the ancient Near East, everybody wrote similar stories, and it's called syncretism, as my brother, Dr. Redwood said. Well, let me just read something real quickly about Mesopotamian influences for the audience. Mesopotamian literature has been found to parallel many accounts of the primeval history in Genesis. In Genesis, we are told Abraham is originally from Mesopotamia, and with Babylonian literature dating older than the book of Genesis, at times, scholars present information that similarities demonstrate biblical dependence on the Babylonian material. In the book Survey of the Old Testament, page 209, it goes on to say, according to this theory, Israelites borrowed the basic mythological concepts on the Babylonian material, but over the centuries adapted them to the distinctive monotheistic outlook. In other words, if Genesis 1 to 11 is only a revamped mythology, then one does not need to believe that people named Adam, Eve, Cain, Noah, Shem ever really existed. And this is from John Walton, who is a conservative biblical teacher. He believes in the Bible wholeheartedly. So he basically just shut the whole Old Testament down with that comment, with what he wrote.
Okay, that's interesting. That's interesting. Peace to the Steve Carter and Mystic Clark for subscribing to the channel. If you hadn't subscribed, please subscribe to the channel. So I don't know, we talked about that, but no, we haven't. Well, just how long, Brother Garfield, did it take you to actually put the book together? And are you through with it? Because you just mentioned volume 2. You mentioned a volume 2, and I know it's going to be a volume 2 because there at the end of your book has volume 1. So of course it's going to be a volume 2.
Yeah, the reason is it was over 480 pages, and you talked about, is it an easy read? Now, do I want my first book to be an easy read? Yes, I want it to be an easy read, but there's a lot of information in this book. But volume 2 is also sick. You're talking about chapters like let me tell y'all a couple. The Deuteronomy 28 chapter is like around 90 pages. So what I did was I broke down why we were in slavery. I broke down the sugar plantations in the Atlantic Islands. And I asked the question, so which tribe would those people be a part of? Because those are the first people that were enslaved in the 1400s by the Portuguese, in the 1500s. I mean, those are the first set of people. Then I broke down the whole, the Deuteronomy 28 about the ship stuff. I actually have in the Assyrian records of them taking Jews or Israelites to Egypt on ships. So nobody has ever done that before in the history in this community. And that's definitely something I wanted in this book. But the 90 pages, man, I had to remove it to add like 4 or 5 chapters in that 90 page. So it's either I keep Deuteronomy 28 or I add 4 chapters. I had to add the 4 chapters. So that's what happened with that. Now, the next thing is the history of the 12 tribes and the 12 tribe chart. That now is a whole nut, because I had to talk about the intercontinental slave trade where Jamaicans and Barbados folks were shipped to the Americas here in North America between 1750 and the 1800s. Is the most people that populated North America. A lot of people don't know that. Most of them came from those because of the intercontinental slave trade. Now, if Jamaica is Benjamin and we're living in America, and these Jamaicans and Barbadians, which they weren't at the time Jamaicans and Barbadians, they were basically descendants of African slaves. They came to America. What tribe would they be if they're here in America? Would they still be Judah, or are they Benjamin? Are they half Benjamin, half Judah? How do you tell? Craziness. So that's the history of the 12 tribes. That's not here. The Black Hebrew Israelites claims refuted. It goes into the whole thing that I showed you, the picture of the Hebrews and all that stuff. That had to be removed. King James and his whiteness, for those who pre-order the book, I'm going to send them a PDF of that. The Israelites are Canaanites. That couldn't make it. The Jewish academies and synagogues showing the history from 2,200 years ago, from the Gulat community coming all the way up to today. That couldn't make it. Jews in West Africa couldn't make it. So all of those things. And then the calendars, festivals, and diet, that didn't make it. Were the pre-exilic Israelites homosexuals, that didn't make it. Prophecies and false prophets didn't make it. So that's a whole nother book.
Mm-hmm.
That's like 9 set of daggers right there. So I wanted everything together and have like a color edition and sell it for like $50. But that was just too much information. Too much. So I said, I'll do a volume 2 and do what we got to do, and let's take it there.
Okay, yeah, no doubt, cause that's kind of like where I'm at, like right now, man. I had so much stuff in my book. This one I just released the same way. I couldn't put all of it in one book, especially my rites of passages. I can do a whole book just on rites of passages, so I just put a little bit of information in there, man. But we definitely gonna be looking for that volume 2. I'm definitely looking for that volume 1 because here in a couple of weeks before I leave and go to Hawaii, I want to try to do a show for the June releases. My book, Bob, I don't know if you're familiar with Baba Imhotep, but Baba Imhotep in your book, I kind of want to, talk about those 3 releases in June. That came out in June. Mm-hmm. But man, let me see. I want to skip around some of these stuff that we kind of already covered. You kind of already covered. Well, let's talk about, man, what was some of Garfield's challenges? You talked about some. If there are any more, talk about some of your challenges. I know you mentioned you should have reached out to a couple of the brothers that I already had put out publication. But what were some of your other challenges as far as putting this whole book together?
Just being focused on what you're trying to do with the book, because sometimes you're in a writing mood. I'll be in my bed 5:30 in the morning and something just hit me, and I just be going in the notes, typing, and nonstop stuff just flowing. And by the time you get up, that vibe is gone, but you already have it documented. So now the challenge is to close that out. The challenge is to close that thought out, because you're not in that mindset no more. So you get your child to go to school, you're in a whole nother mindset, driving him to school. By the time you get back home and say, I'm going to get the book, 10 other things pop up. So that was one of my biggest challenges. The biggest challenges is just keeping the flow and keeping the ideas going. And another challenge is, something Unc advised me on. He's like, listen, man, close that book off. You're going to have everything pop up, Kofi. You're already done with the book. They're going to get this. Oh, man, I forgot about that. Oh, yep. I forgot about this.
Yep.
Just focus on what you're doing.
Yep.
Listen, the hardest chapter to write for me was Ethiopia is not Ethiopia, because I don't want to offend my people in Jamaica. I really don't. I don't want to offend people who worship Haile Selassie as God. I don't want to do it. But the book actually is very offensive to Ethiopian followers. Very offensive.
So you talk about Rastafarian in there? You talk about?
No, I don't really talk about Rastafarianism. I talk about Ethiopia where it is today is not Ethiopia of the Bible. Okay. Ethiopia is what we call Nubia, misnomer as Nubia, and
Ta-Nehisi.
And where it's located as far as the biblical is concerned is southern Egypt, northern modern day Sudan. And I think I have family members who moved to Ethiopia, today's Ethiopia. And if they hear that that's not the biblical Ethiopia, they probably cut me off for life. But the truth is the truth. I got to go with where the information leads. And what I did is I actually, hold on, let me, a matter of fact, let me bring that up right now. And the reason why it was the hardest chapter is because Ethiopia is why is this giving me problem to open up? Hold on, let me see if I could open up this one here. Ethiopia is a very sensitive issue because Haile Selassie being God and all this stuff is very enticing to anybody who follow the movement. But when you study the movement, you realize how pseudo it is. But that's a whole nother argument. The issue here is with this, if you can share the screen. All right. So this is basically the table of contents for that chapter. All right. Now, one of the hardest arguments, one of the biggest arguments for folks who follow the Bible is that there is a let me get to this point first. The point I wanted to make is that before the Izana invasion, this map here shows how big the Aksumite Empire was. Now, after Izana, this is what it looked like. So Nubia was here, empire. Egypt is here, where the red is. And Kush would probably be right there at the border of Kemet. Right? That's referred to the Bible. But the kingdom Nubia is more for 8th century. So what I did was I showed the kingdom of Demet, which is what ruled during the time of the kingdom of Kush when they had the 25th dynasty, and showed that it was two different peoples that was ruling. It wasn't the same. Even in the AD era, I showed different kings that they documented and showed that the kings in Nubia, so-called Nubia, were different. They were never the same people. It was always a separate kingdom that ruled. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so we also talk about, of course, the Ark of the Covenant and different things. But one of the most important things for people, well, not the Queen of Sheba, Ark of the Covenant and all that stuff, but, and the Kebra Nagas. But the this guy here was financed by Baron Rothschild. Real, no conspiracy talk. This is like real. And he was the one that really focused on saying, hey, they were Jews. Now, every chapter in the book, I tried to have a segment called Stories Have No Borders, meaning that there's syncretism, meaning that you're going to have stories from other cultures. So I broke down, this is a major story with these Bible people. This is Genesis 2, verses 10 to 14. Everybody want to say where the river is, where 4 rivers meet. So this is a map of the region. And if you can see, there's nowhere a river is coming out of Sumer or Ashur or whatever that actually is meeting up 4 different rivers at one point. So I actually broke down where it comes from, the story, and all that different stuff. So, and I also show, let me see what else we talk about. Yeah, well, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much it for that chapter. Yeah, but we talk about Ethiopia and how they got Judaism and Eldad the Danite and all that stuff. Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk about, man, publishing real quick, man. You are an indie author, and you know, on each show we talk about publishing company versus self-publishing, and we give the ups with the publishing company, the downs with the publishing company, you know, ups with self-publishing, you know, some of the downs with self-publishing. You didn't per se, you per se, well, you didn't go through a publishing company to print your book.
Mm-hmm.
Can you explain to the audience? Because see, we're self-published too. Now we have a publishing company now, Sanctuary, different branch publishing. It is official publishing company. Like I said, we have paperwork and everything for the publishing company. And we did the same thing. You did something a little bit different than what we did. I wish I would have known what you did, because I wouldn't have used like Amazon, all those people. We did everything ourselves. Amazon was the people that actually printed the books, and you know, where you can actually go on there and you can buy the books. I don't care nothing about Amazon. This book here with our publishing company, my book is on like 7 different major platforms, but I don't give a damn about that. I believe in me getting almost 100% of my intellectual property. So I sold books on Kofi Piesie TV, and now the newest book is on our publishing company website, Sanctuary Different Branch Publishing. You didn't per se, and you per se, you went outside of, even your book is not even on these platforms at all. So right now you are getting almost 100% of your intellectual property. What made you go that route? Say, hey, look, I'm gonna go and find. And I wish I could have found. Well, actually, I did. I just never did fall back up on a black publishing company that the only thing I would have to do was send him the book, and they would press the books up at a reasonable price or a wholesale price for me for getting the books. But can you kind of explain why you went that route?
All right. What I've heard of Amazon taking like 60% and all that stuff, it didn't sit well with me for the first 1,000. My goal is to sell 1,000 books independently, right? If I sell 1,000 books independently, then I could say Amazon. So if I'm advertising on a big platform, for example, some people might not feel comfortable ordering on my website. That's when you go to the other platforms and say, hey, you could buy through them. So that's on them. The truth of the matter is, independence has always been my way. My goal is to sell 5,000 books. But how can I sell 5,000 books to a community that normally doesn't support its own? So this is why I say there's going to be a lot of trial and error here. I'm going to sell 500 books in a week. That's a given. But how can I get to 1,000 in a 2-week period? So, I mean, of course, my brother Sonnet has been calling me. He wants to get back on track and promote the book and everything. But I told him just to get the full 14 days. He's fully, I mean, he got antibodies. And shout out to Sonnet, by the way. But Sonnet is going to be a big help. The whole community is going to be a big help. But also the fact that the product I'm putting out being also what it is a big help, because the whole brouhaha about the book, I'm going to debunk your Garfield. I'm like, yeah, go debunk the experts. It's fine. I use all of them. So what I'm saying is, with me going independent, I felt confident enough that I could do 1,000 books independently at $35 a pop. So they told him I had crazy. So I felt confident enough that I could sell 1,000 books. If I do sell 1,000 books within a 2-week period, then I'm gonna keep it independent for another 2 to 3 weeks and see how it goes. And then, people gonna have their books and you're gonna hear responses and so forth. So that's gonna give me another buzz on top of that buzz. Then with the social media, digital marketing and everything going on, then all the interviews, going on the African History Network, going on here, going on there, going on even my brother Sanchez, going on Ong show, coming on your show, going on Asar show, going all over. So people know what's going on with the book and everything, putting it out there, make it known and make it accessible. I think once people see everything is all good, then I think it's going to take off big time. Once I sit down with Sonetta, it's going to legitimize what I'm doing, and it's going to put in people's minds that, hey, this guy means business. I made this book not to say I got a book out, but for the book to go down in history, just like how a Dr. Ben, Black Man in the Nile, and so forth. This book is none of a kind. There's no other book like it out there in the white or black community. I'm going to tell you why I say that. You'll never find a book. If you look at the table of contents, Bereshit is the first chapter. Bereshit is the Hebrew word for Genesis. Then no Exodus, no religion, right? Then Joshua conquest. The lost tribes have been found. Passover and its origins. Hezekiah Sennacherib, the lost tribes of Judah. 70 AD, 1 million Jews exiled to West Africa. Ethiopia is not Ethiopia. Is Yahweh an Edomite God? Did Moses write the Torah, doublets and contradictions? You will not find these different topics in one book. And within the chapters, you have other daggers that's just crazy right now. You're talking about Hasmonean realities. You're talking about, with the lost tribes, we talk about how the Afghanistan people believe that they're from Nebuchadnezzar, banned them back in the days, and they're really the lost tribes. So those people, the lost tribes people here in America, you're not alone with the craziness. You got people in China claiming it. You got people in Japan, even Afghanistan, claiming this craziness. Afghanistan actually have manuscripts from Jews. You have the Geniza manuscripts in Egypt. You got the Afghan manuscripts. But I'm telling your family, Don't sleep on this. All right. The book is going to be on my website, brothergarfielduniversity.com. It's already, let me see if it's supposed to be finished probably tomorrow evening, but I'm going to go right through the website and then do it from there.
Yeah, you just let me know, man, when you got it up, man, so I can go on there, man, and get me a copy or two, man.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And it's worth the wait, family. And part 2 is right there.
So they're gonna get the volume 2 real soon too, is what you're saying.
Volume 2. As soon as volume 1 is in about 3-4 months, you might get volume 2.
Publishing. I think that's what you said. You have a publishing company too, right? You publishing your book.
No,
okay.
I'm just publishing independent. No, I don't have a publishing.
Okay. I thought you said you had a publishing company also. Okay. Man, we wrapping up the interview, man. I got 2 more questions, man. And again, I hope everybody is writing down what we're talking about in this interview. There's been a lot of jewels dropped, a lot of educational tools dropped on how to start a book. What the process look like of writing a book, what it takes to market a book, how to target who your target audience is going to be. Also, shout out to Carl Willis for subscribing to the channel. If anybody else on here that hasn't subscribed to the channel, please subscribe to the channel. Well, man, I got one more question. Man, and then we'll end it. We're at 1 hour and 12 minutes. I try to make the interviews no longer than 1 hour and a half. I try to do 1 hour, but I let it go over if it's flowing good. So I kind of let it go, but I don't let it go over no more than 30 minutes. And I want to try to hurry up and get through for look at the video. And if he look at it and he gonna want to jump on, I ain't trying to be on here 2 more hours. Well, shout out to my Uncle. Shout out to Uncle. But yeah, man, my final question, man, is after coming up with your ideals, writing the chapters, editing, putting the book together, publishing it, what did you learn about yourself?
I didn't know I was this smart. I'm serious. I'm not even being cocky. I'm like, I can't. Last night, I literally cried going through the book. I'm like, wow, I can't believe I did this, man. My 2 brothers came to the house yesterday. They surprised me. And I drove down and I said, let me go meet them. They said they're going to come by. They surprised me by saying they're going to come by. And, we was talking and he said, who edited the book? I said, I edited the book. He's like, what? You did the writing and the editing? And, before they left, they said, hey, here's $35, man. We gonna buy the book. My other brother zelled me the $35. And I just started crying, man. And I'm what I learned last night is that all this information in the book might debunk Hebrew Israelites. It might destroy Judaism in general. It might make people look at the religion totally different. But just to have it in one book in our community, this is ours, Kofi. This is ours now. This is from us. The cover is kind of controversial because, this is more like of an Orthodox Jewish look. But my job is not to make anybody happy or not. I think Wujao did an excellent job, and this actually came out in the printing.
And I thought that was a hard copy. I ain't gonna even when I seen the picture of the book, it looked the way it's printed. It looks like a hardback.
Hardback, yeah. Yeah. They did a good job with that. And listen, man, Wujao, I want to say, give thanks. I don't know how to say that in Medjugorje, but give thanks to you, brother. You did your thing. I called him up and I said, bro, thanks for this, man.
Naheem.
Naheem. So family, listen, I'm having a birthday bash on YouTube. Kofi, you know what? I need you on my birthday bash, man. You could either come on between 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. Eastern or 8 p.m. to 12 midnight.
I can do the 11
Wednesday.
a.m.
Wednesday.
Yeah,
This
I can
Wednesday,
do.
though. This Wednesday.
I can do 11. I can do 11 a.m.
The link to the book is brothergarfielduniversity.com. It should be up and running actually on my birthday. So I got like, hold on a second. I got my favorite scholar in the community, of course, going to be there, Asari Motep. And I have Dr. Mayat, who is another favorite of mine. I have Dr. Richard Carrier, Russell Gmerkin, Dr. Josh Bowen, Unquest, Pastor Damon Richardson. Yeah, I got Divine Prospect. Let's come celebrate my birthday, man, and we're gonna celebrate the book at the same time. Let's restart the battery, get everything going, and we're gonna do what we're gonna do. We're gonna continue to put out work. Misconception and Misinformation by the Black Hebrew Israelites, Volume 2 is Misconception and Misinformation by the Black Hebrew Israelites from Negroes to Hebrews. That's an answer to that guy, Ron Dalton, from Hebrews to Negroes. So that's going to come out. The Jews of West Africa is the biggest point. Anyone tells you they're a Hebrew or an Israelite, ask them for one, did their father or mother give them that religion? If not, they are a convert by their definition. Now, the next thing is anyone in West Africa or anywhere in Africa claiming to be a Hebrew or a Jew, ask yourself, what did they follow? If they follow Orthodox Judaism, listen, that means they follow the rabbinical Judaism, which is the oral Torah, which means they're an offshoot of the same white European Jewry they claim is fake. That's what it means. Everybody in West Africa who was a Jew traced back to Orthodox Judaism. The Berber Jews were converted by Moroccan Jews who followed Orthodox Judaism. You have the Tustari family and the Nissim family, all traders in the medieval time period. They followed Orthodox Judaism, rabbinical Judaism. We got letters in this book, beloved, where men would write their wives and say, you might as well divorce me because I'm not going to come back in 2 years. I have people traveling around like Christians in this book saying that they have to donate money to Babylon like you're donating to a church. Hey, I'm gonna tell y'all right now, everybody who claims to be a Hebrew, ask them what they believed. Show me a Hebrew in the medieval time period in West Africa that believed in the New Testament. They never followed the New Testament. And when they build a synagogue, you know about in Elmina and in Senegambia, they used to have synagogues in their church, the Dao family and all these people. There was rabbinical Jews. Yahya the Negro that they trying to claim now. He was writing about the Talmud. That's what they followed. Ain't nobody following no New Testament. Nobody. So at the end of the day, anyone who makes that claim that they're a Jew, those same people that was in West Africa, you know and I know, Kofi, they helped with the slave trade. They slept with the Senegambian chief's daughters and had children, the Luso-Africans. And ladies and gentlemen, those people, Luso-Africans, was buffers between the African folks who had prisoners of war and say, yo, we could get rid of these dudes and get some money for them. That's pretty much what it is in a clear way. They didn't sell their own people. And we need to be clear about that. No Senegambian from a tribe didn't sell people from his tribe. It's usually people who they had a war with next door, down the block, whatever. They basically sold those people away instead of keeping them as prisoners of war. And then those Jews who were sleeping with them, those are the people who were the slave traders. Those people, it's in the book by Peter Mark and what's his name. It's in so all of that is laid out. So if you want to claim you are Sephardic Jews, you should be banned from the community with that craziness. And that's the problem. We have ammunition now. We're going to have ammunition with volume 1 and volume 2. So this argument, so 100 years from now, we could say, hey, there was a brother named Garfield who came out with a book named Misconceptions and Misinformation that changed the tide in the community. And let me say something. The reason why a book like this never came out before in the community, because most of our elders, I mean, rest in peace to all of them, most of them were attached to that text. Most of them were attached to that text. So they didn't want to make a book that could damage their own belief and the belief of the people around them. I'm telling you, misconception and misinformation, very important text for everybody to have.
I got one more question, Garfield, for you, man, and it's basically for the audience. Before we do that, before we get out of here, I got to throw my book up to you. Flashing your book everywhere. I got the flash drive too. So, you know, if you ain't got it, just come out Friday. It's called Beautiful Lessons About Kimoyo. It explains what is Kimoyo. This term was introduced to us by Asar Imhotep via Dr. Fukiao. So it's a 183-page book. It's a very good book. So go to Same Tree, Different Branch to get Beautiful Lessons About Kimoyo. We trying to get away from the word African traditional religion and the word African spirituality. I break both of those down, why I have contentions with those in the book. Also, I put this on because Garfield is an entrepreneur. Garfield is a Black entrepreneur. He has various business. I'm a Black entrepreneur. I have various businesses, small businesses as well. So if you want this RBE, you know, we with the RBG, but the RBE, Real Black Entrepreneurs, here's the shirt, and here's the hat, RBE. Go to Mboka/Family Connect Apparel. That's our online apparel store to get RBE, Real Black Entrepreneurs. Now, the last question, Brother Garfield, that I have, and it's for the listening audience is, man, what kind of advice can you give to those upcoming writers?
Hey, get that note game up, man. You're not gonna sit down and write a book in 4 days. We ain't nobody built like that. You ain't a sorry tip writing books in 5 minutes with ideas just rolling off your head like that. And you know, but feel your argument out, you know. And I wanted to have a book compressed with a bunch of information, not focus on one topic. I could have did a book on Exodus and just do a book on the Exodus, but this book has different things it's dealing with. Ethiopia, dealing with the 70 AD claim and 1 million people in the West Africa. So a lot of the main claims that keeps them, I actually clogged them up. I bet you a lot of people didn't know. Hold on a second. Wow. Uh-oh. That's very important. A lot of people didn't know that the Jews in 115 AD in the Kittus War used to eat people. They were cannibals. They would kill the Romans and peel their skin off and wear it as clothes and also eat them. Are you a descendant of those Jews? Because remember, after 70 AD, y'all said y'all exiled into West Africa. How y'all end up in the Kittus War fighting those? And guess who the Romans hired? Let me give you a little Moorish history you might not know about. Guess who the Romans hired? They hired a Moor, and the Moor killed off the Jews. He was leading the army to kill the Jews in 115 AD, and then the Romans set him up and killed him because they didn't want him, I guess a black man, to come and lead Judah. Yeah, he more than likely was black. He was African. Yeah, the Moor, they hired a Moor because the Jews was kicking their butt, eating them, cooking them. They came in and slaughtered all them Jews. So I want to know which one of the Jews went into West Africa. And then after that, they had another war where another guy said he was the Messiah, Simon Bar Kokhba, in 132 AD to 135 AD. And guess what? They said over 500,000 Jews was killed. Where them Jews came from if all of them was exiled at 70 AD? They never exiled because there was more Jews living outside of Jerusalem and Judah than living inside of it. They estimated over 5 million were living there. So all these arguments they have, the lost tribes, they use a book called Second Esdras. Come to find out, Second Esdras is an AD era book, but my community believes it was written by Ezra in the 5th century BC. Only people that think that. Nobody in scholarship, nobody on a record says it was written in 5th century BC except Black Hebrew Israelites. Ask them who is their scholar. Remember, they said the white man is the devil. He's from Edom. He's an Edomite, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you trace the One West teachings, ask their teachers who they got their information from. They got it from the white man. They got it from the Edomite. Everywhere a missionary went, ladies and gentlemen, that's when the lost tribes argument came to be. They came to the natives here in Peru. They said lost of Israel. They did some Jewish, they some cannibals, but they showed some Jewish stuff in what they do. To North America. Oh, these guys are Jews. They go to Cuba. Those guys are Jews. They go to Nicaragua. Those guys are Jews. Everywhere they're going, there's lost tribes argument. And all because of Eldad the Danite and the Christians making up Prester John. And because the Portuguese now, you are expert, who are they looking for? They were trying to find a route to go to where? To Ethiopia, right? To find gold. Why were they doing that? Because of Prester John storyline saying that he had gold, which was a lie that the Christians made up to compete with Eldad the Danite story.
Yeah.
All because of that story, me and you was right here in StreamYard in America. That's my theory, by the way, because if they didn't make up the Prester John story, the Portuguese wouldn't be looking for gold. Hence, they wouldn't have gone on the west coast of Africa. Hence, they wouldn't have been able to have access to somebody trying to sell Africans to them. It wouldn't have happened. Because remember, the Ottoman Empire cut off certain trade routes, so they're trying to find new ways to make money. So that's why they started to explore, the exploration era.
Right.
You know, but that's the cause of the slave trade, not no Deuteronomy 28:68, not no craziness. They were trying to find new ways to make money.
That's a fact.
And they thought the gold was in Ethiopia. They had a rude awakening, but that rude awakening came in the form of us, black men and women. So because of this book is the root to why we are here today. This book, yeah. And they claim everywhere they go, they own, they control America, they control Cuba, they control Jamaica, they control wherever we go, that's ours. These Europeans splitting up the world in their own world, they in control because of their belief system.
Yep. That's a fact. Well, there you have it. Well, again, Brother Garfield, man, I appreciate you for coming on the platform, man. If I didn't know nothing about the book, and this was my first time looking and knowing who you are, you definitely sold the book to me. You were very good salesman, man. So y'all please go out there, man, and
one more thing. My book after the Hebrews is Misconceptions Misinformation by the Muslims. I got to get the Muslims after this. The Muslims and the Moors. I got to deal with that. Then after that, I deal with the crazy folks out of Kemet.
Okay, man. We definitely gonna be looking forward to those publications, man. And welcome to the author's world, man. I'm glad you are now set apart, I would say, from everybody else. You know, we have a lot of people we have tons of people on Facebook that just jabber off at the mouth. But don't have anything to back it up. Don't have no type of works to show, man. So again, man, good luck. I hope you sell 10,000 books, man. And again, we appreciate you for coming on to platform. And what time is you having 3 or 4 separate events for your birthday? I know you mentioned 11 o'clock, then you mentioned 2 other different times. Are you gonna be all day? You're gonna be online all day?
All right. All right, cool. All right, family, peace and love, man. And thanks for
He ain't
having me
heard
on,
nothing
brother.
I said. You heard what I said, Garfield?
Yeah, go ahead. No. Somebody texted me. Go ahead. Say it again, my brother. I'm sorry.
Oh, no. I'm finna let you go. I was saying, your birthday thing. What are the dates, the times again? I know you mentioned 11 o'clock, and then you mentioned 3 other different times.
11 to 3.
11 to 3.
And 8 to like 12 midnight, 8 p.m. to 12 midnight.
Okay. All right. Well, there you have it, man. Like I said, I'll make the one at 11 o'clock, man. Again, appreciate you for coming on. Please go out and get Garfield's new book, Misconceptions and Misinformations about Black Hebrew Israelites. Also get my book, Beautiful Lessons about Kimoyo. I said ETM Hotep in the beginning, which means bring forth peace. So now I want to say Shemim Hotep. Shemim Hotep means to depart in peace. Peace and Black African power. And we out of here.
All right. Peace and love, brother.
All right. Peace.